The president-elect recently lashed out at the, quote, dishonest media for reports that he was reneging on his campaign promise to build a wall and make Mexico pay for it. Donald Trump tweeting, "The dishonest media does not report that any money spent on building the Great Wall for the sake of speed will be paid back by Mexico later." Trump was apparently responding to reports out that his team and GOP lawmakers may consider relying on a 2006 law signed by then-President George W. Bush that provided construction of 700 miles worth of a physical barrier along the southern border. That barrier was never constructed. The law did not include a sunset provision, which allows Republicans to seek funding for a program already on the books. Senior advisor Kellyanne Conway says Trump wants Mexico to pay back any costs that were shouldered by the United States.
The president-elect has made very clear two things. He's going to build the wall and Mexico is going to pay for it. Congress, because that's where things are paid for, Congress, I guess, is investigating the possibility of paying for it to make it more speedy and then having Mexico pay for it after the fact.
Having Mexico pay for the wall is a campaign promise Trump ran on. And he also has repeatedly said that the United States trade deficit with Mexico is a way for them to pay for the wall's construction. Here's Trump on the debate stage back in February 2016.
We have a trade deficit with Mexico of $58 billion a year, and that doesn't include all the drugs that are pouring across and destroying our country. We're going to make them pay for that wall. Now, the wall is $10 billion to $12 billion if I do it.
So the trade deficit strategy is nothing new, despite the so-called dishonest media accusing Trump of going back on his word. And despite the United States and Mexico's trade deficit being about $60 billion, Mexico can't necessarily afford to pay for the wall. Trump suggests that the size of the trade deficit is proof that Mexico could pay for the wall, but that's misleading. In reality, the trade deficit has nothing to do with whether the Mexican government could afford to write the United States a check to build the wall. Experts told PolitiFact that there is no connection between the size of the trade deficit and finding money to build the wall. Mark Perry is a University of Michigan professor and scholar at the conservative American Enterprise Institute. He says the trade deficit is based mostly on trading and investment by private individuals and companies, not the government itself. Perry says it's not like there is a $54 billion check sitting around somewhere in Mexico, like a magic pile of dollars that could be used to build a wall. And as Gary Huffbauer of the Peterson Institute for International Economics points out, the Mexican government doesn't even have enough funding to pay for health, education, or roads, much less building a wall. And even if they did have the money, we all know what the Mexican's president says about that.
I declare, I'm not going to pay for that wall. He should pay for it. He's got the money.
Democrats have been critical of Trump's anti-illegal immigration proposal to build a wall on the Mexico-U.S. border, but several Democrats voted in support of similar legislation in 2006, including California Senator Barbara Boxer.
I don't oppose building a fence where you need to do it, where the border is porous. I just don't have a problem with that.
And President Obama also supported building a fence on the southern border. While he didn't believe the fence was a permanent solution, he did say it would provide better security.
The bill before us will certainly do some good. It will authorize some badly needed funding for better fences and better security along our borders, and that should help stem some of the tide of illegal immigration in this country.
Other prominent Democratic senators who supported the legislation include Vice President Joe Biden, Senator Dianne Feinstein, and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer.